I'm going to be honest with you people. Halo 4 is a total train wreck and a classic example of how to butcher a franchise. This game had some potential, some hype. After Halo Reach came out, but they totally blew it. So first, let me give you a backstory. Around 2001, Microsoft bought the game developer Bungie, who started off as a Mac-only game developer with Marathon and Pathways into Darkness, and then started making games such as Myth, Marathon 2, and Oni for the PC as well. Now, of course, Microsoft saw they had this game in development called Halo, so they bought the company, made Halo 1 an Xbox exclusive, and the rest is history. And it was all fine up till Halo 3 when Bungie spun off from Microsoft. And then what happened was, well, after releasing Halo 3 ODST and Reach for Microsoft, they later went their own way, making games such as Destiny, which is looking like a cookie-cutter first-person shooter. But this isn't about Destiny. So let's get back to Microsoft. After Halo Reach, Microsoft made 343 Industries to make Halo games after, well, Bungie stopped making Halo games. And of course, they started to do things with Halo Reach. First, with the well-known Halo Reach title update, which was made in response to many competitive players voicing criticism at the original Halo Reach gameplay design with Weapon Bloom, where, for example, when you shoot your gun, your crosshair would expand. Now, while many other first-person shooters did this, such as Call of Duty when you're not aiming down sights, Halo Reach was like one of the first Halo games to do it. Halo 1 had it to a little extent, but your crosshair didn't expand on screen. Either way, 343 made a title update for Halo Reach that allowed it to behave differently when it came to gameplay. And well, many people received the update positively. However, they also allowed you to play with the original settings, which is why there's both a playlist for title update game modes and one for non-title update game modes. So of course, people were, well, pretty happy about this, especially because 343 finally listened to people who were complaining and even gave them a choice if they wanted to play that or not play that. 343's first Halo game released under the label was Combat Evolved Anniversary, which was a remake of the first Halo game. It ran on the original engine, had better graphics, but you could toggle between the original ones and better graphics, and of course it had a co-op mode. It did not, however, have multiplayer, as this was just an additional disc that, well, used the Halo Reach engine instead of the original engine. So the only way you'll be able to play the original multiplayer officially online on a console is with the new Master Chief Collection. So what was the first Halo 343 actually released that was original? Halo 4. Now Halo 4, like I said, is a total disaster and a train wreck of a game. But why is Halo 4 so bad? Like, why did 343 let everybody down? Well, let's find out by actually playing the game. Now, I'm going to give you a fair warning. Most of this review focuses on the multiplayer. I did play a little bit of single player, but long story short, Halo 4 single player is pretty trashy. If I wanted to play an on-rails game on foot, I'd go play Call of Duty. Now, let's get back to the review. Halo 4 is a first-person shooter by 343 Industries, and well, it's yet another game in the Halo franchise, or the fourth numbered one in the whole Halo series, so you know this is going to be big in that it's about Master Chief, the character who you've played as for the last few Halos and realized that is extremely overpowered in the campaign, but I'm not going to talk about the campaign because the campaign's nothing special in this game. Instead, I'm going to talk about the multiplayer pretty much. So let's talk about the multiplayer. So the first thing you notice about the multiplayer is that the user interface is god-awful. I'm going to be honest with you. This has got to be the worst user interface of any first-person shooter I've played. To invite people to a party, for example, you have to press your X button, go to a little thing that displays who's in your party and stuff, instead of, having it all in one screen. And of course, matchmaking too, instead of going to a menu, pushing a button, and then waiting, this thing takes up your whole screen. Now, I might sound like I'm nitpicking, but remember, Call of Duty older Halos and other games had a much better user interface than this that actually worked. Remember when people were complaining about Metro because it changed everything with Windows, or Unity with like Ubuntu? Yeah. Imagine this with a first-person shooter genre, because that's what this basically does. It makes it a whole total clusterfuck. Because that's what this is, a clusterfuck. I mean, and I mentioned matchmaking takes forever. For a game that's supposed to be able to drop you into a match quickly, like Call of Duty, this game takes forever to matchmake and find players. Now, I can't tell if it's because of the game code or the fact that the player base is extremely low, because nobody plays this game. Really, nobody plays this game, and you're about to see why when I talk about the actual game. So the first problem besides the user interface is that the maps feel the same. I mean, I know this is a Halo game, but in Halo 2, Halo 1, Halo 3, you had all these maps looking distinct. And then you've got Halo 4, where all the maps just feel absolutely generic. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. This is a joke. With these maps, I mean. But anyways, let's actually talk about the gameplay itself. Now, the first thing wrong with the game I'm going to mention is the lag. In this match, you're going to notice a lot of lag. And here's the thing, when you press the back button, just like Call of Duty Ghosts, which is a train wreck too, there is absolutely no way to see what your ping is. Do you have a red bar? Does everybody in the match have a red bar? Is it just me? Is my internet lagging? Or is everybody else lagging because of a crappy host? You can't tell, because the game does not give you a ping bar. And in this match, I'm finding issues killing stuff because I'm lagging. And you'll notice this in a second when I respawn. Like, see now, look. That's an example of me being in a laggy lobby. And the game does not give me any idea on if it's me or the whole thing. See, look. There's no ping bars. I don't see anything. And that's the thing with this game. This game does not tell you if you're lagging or not. But now it's time to actually talk about the gameplay. The gameplay is like if you took the worst aspects of Halo and Call of Duty and mashed them together. In fact, the game feels like a Call of Duty clone, just with moon jumping and vehicles taken out of Halo, because nearly anything else in this game will feel like Call of Duty. Oh, and it also has armor customization, but you can no longer customize yourself as an elite like you could in Halo 3, or Reach even, so there's that. But anyways, let me talk about how bad this game is. The whole game is designed to be a fast-paced, run-and-gun, if you see the enemy first, you get the kill gameplay. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. This game has stuff that Call of Duty had, such as a run button, a create a class system, where instead of everybody being on an equal playing field like with older Halo games where it came down to somewhat skill, this game, on the other hand, throws out any notion that older Halo games might have had skill. Because this game just does not require any skill whatsoever, because all you have to do is get the good weapons, which you can do with create a class after buying some with your credits, and then you can, well, go around and be destroying people with a jetpack and, carbine. Because remember older Halo games where you actually had to, pick the jetpack from the loadout like in Halo Reach, or find the carbine in the map like with Halo 3? This game, you can spawn with a carbine with a jetpack. And of course, until you get killed by a vehicle, because you have absolutely nothing that can take down a vehicle. From grenades that bounce all over the place to, rocket launchers, which you can't spawn with or find in the map. Unless you get an ordnance, which implies you have to get so many kills first. Because really, this game even copies the kill streak system, except instead of kill streaks you get ordnances, which are like overpowered weapons like rocket launchers and that stuff, which you can drop next to you nearly instantly. And that's what this game has instead of kill streaks. But they act the same because you have to get so many kills just to get one. Now, I'm gonna be honest, even though I'm all for changing video games, the problem with Halo 4 is, this game, it feels like a copy-paste of a game that's entirely different from Halo, and a bad one at that. I mean, let's be honest here, you could strip away the whole Halo branding. You could just, like, take away all the Halo logos. Because I'm going to be honest with you, this game has little to no identity as a Halo game. I mean, many of the iconic weapons, aren't here, or they're heavily redesigned and they don't even sound the same. Like, I mean, it's like if they made a Sonic game, but like with a different sound for the rings. But either way, the point of this is, if they stripped away the Halo logos from this game would just be a generic sci-fi shooter. And that's pretty much what this game feels like. A generic sci-fi shooter. And especially considering how this game died off when Black Ops 2 came out, that says something about this game and, well, the state of the industry in general. You've got all these developers trying to pander a game to a very specific audience. This game was trying to sell itself to the Call of Duty audience. People who play one or the other don't always play the other one. And here's the thing. Did I also mention that many people play both know the differences between those games too? So yeah. Halo and Call of Duty have very different play styles. Halo is a much slower paced, where you have to find weapons throughout the map, and there's no sprint button, while Call of Duty has a sprint button, has create a class, loadouts, or whatever you want to call them, has kill streaks, has perks. Halo doesn't have any of that. Instead, Halo feels a lot more like an old school first-person shooter, but slower paced. And that's really what Halo feels like. I mean, I'm not trying to say it should be exactly one thing, but here's the problem with this game. The problem with this game is, they're trying to make a main series Halo game. I mean, at least with ODST, Reach, 2 games, which did stuff a lot differently, they were distinct, and they didn't try to sell themselves as the next big Halo sequel. I mean, when you're doing that, you're basically setting a lot of people up for false hype, when in reality this game turned out to be a mediocre Call of Duty clone. Now let me tell you about the last thing, the graphics. The graphics? The art style looks absolutely bland and stuff. I mean, sure, it has a lot of bright lighting featuring whiteout, but in the end, this game just looks eh. I mean, really, it does. It looks meh on the actual TV. I don't know how the Xbox One version looks. Maybe it'll look slightly better, but it just looks terrible here. Did I mention this game has a mandatory install? So you actually have to install the game to your hard drive if you want to play a multiplayer, at least, with campaign and its linear Call of Duty style levels. I did not notice my storage device's light blinking or any of that, but when I installed Halo 4's multiplayer, the multiplayer requires a storage device. So if you want to play online, you'll need a flash drive or a hard drive. So all in all, my thoughts on this game is a total train wreck. It's how to kill a series. I mean, sure, sometimes there are times change needs to be done, such as with Pokemon, such as with the Call of Duty franchise, but then you have winning formulas, and instead of improving on them, instead of listening to what people want, like, for example, you know how older Halos, such as Reach and ODST and Halo 1, had the whole health bar system? This game does not have a health bar. All it has is the shield bar. So, you have regenerating health that's fully regenerating, and it feels just like Call of Duty. That's all I have to say on this. This game is a straight up clone of Call of Duty, and a terrible one too. Don't buy this game. There's a reason there are 50 million copies of this at GameStop. Halo 3, Halo Reach, which is going to be games with gold later this month, Halo Reach, and of course Halo 3 ODST, which gives you all the Halo 3 maps. Of course, Halo 1 and 2 are better than this game. If you own an Xbox One, be sure to get the Master Chief Collection. Then you can play 1, 2, and 3 online with 60 frames per second gameplay. That's all I have to say on this. This game sucks. Don't buy this game. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more.